Hello. Welcome to the Abundant Empath community. I'm Kesley Tweed. I am the Empath Coach, and what I do is I help women like you awaken their goddess energy, step into a place of abundance and confidence and fulfilling relationships. And that is what this community is all about. So I am so glad you're here. For those of you who joined just today, this group is brand new. So really happy to have you here. So happy that you took that immediate action to join the group. And there's going to be live videos like this every single week, tons of content and tips being shared, some astrology, and you're going to be able to connect with literally empaths from throughout the entire world. So first of all, a little bit about the background for starting this group and why today. We'll talk about that too. So for those of you who are not familiar, today is a pretty special day because in astrology, we have what's called transits. And so today is a day where the energies of Jupiter and Neptune are coming together in their home sign, bringing abundance and gifts and opportunities for manifesting. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. So that is why today. So my first challenge for you, if you are here and you are interested in creating a more abundant life, make today the day that you proclaim to the universe that you are ready. You are ready for more abundance. And when I say more abundance, I'm not just talking about money. I am talking about money, but I'm also talking about abundance in terms of confidence, in terms of your relationships, in terms of the amount of time that you have to invest in yourself. I'm talking about purpose. I'm talking about fulfillment, right? So in this group, when I say the abundant empath, let me tell you a little secret, sister. You are meant to be abundant. We'll talk more about that as I kind of go into a little bit more on what an empath is. I will say this, if you are here, you're an empath. You are an empath and welcome once again. Okay, so first of all, once again, getting back into a little bit of the history on why this group, and why this topic of abundance is so important for empaths. So I've been working with empaths specifically for about a year and a half. I didn't really realize that I was an empath, but I am. I have been my entire life. But for the majority of my life, it showed up as people pleasing, as overachieving, as anxiety, as always being stuck in my head, overthinking things, right? So, first step for you today is if you've dealt with any of those things, proclaim, right? Today is the day, the beginning of me stepping out of those toxic, we'll call them toxic empath behaviors, the people pleasing, the overachieving, the giving, and kind of showing up in a way that's like you're always sacrificing and not taking time to fill your own cup, maybe a lack of money, maybe brokenhearted, toxic relationships, whatever it is. Today's the day that you proclaim. So I want you to post in the comments in what area of your life are you starting today that you are going to attract and create more abundance in your life? What would that mean for you? Put it in the comments, all right? So that's the first step. You are going to be hearing a lot from me about taking action, about setting intentions. Those things are incredibly important for us as empaths. So I've chatted a little bit about what an empath is, right? So just simple definition, I've talked about how that kind of shows up, but simple definition, an empath is someone who is more sensitive to the energy, the emotions, and the expectations of others. And so that's why if you've ever fallen into this category, people pleasing, overachieving, giving, toxic relationships, lack of money or abundance in your life, that's why, right? Until we learn to be empowered, abundant empaths, we can show up as sponges because our brains, our energy, our souls are programmed to be givers. Our souls are programmed to have purpose. Our souls are programmed to be sensitive to what's going on around us, which is truly a gift. It makes you incredibly intuitive and creative. It makes you a great partner, a great friend, great moms, great business people. But it also, or I should say, and it also, what it does is it makes you are actually an amplifier and a creator of energy. No one tells us this about being an empath. We think, right, we're energetic sponges. But you're able to tap in, tune in to your highest self, your inner self, higher power, whatever it is that you believe in, the universe. You are guided in ways that the average person is not. You have gifts that the average person is not. So, what is it when it comes to abundance? Abundance is about tapping into those gifts and not just making them gifts, right? But actually turning them into your own personal superpowers. And that's what I do as a coach for empaths, right? I help you get rid of the toxic behaviors, help you get rid of the things that make you a sponge for energy, and help you become a creator, an amplifier, an empowered, abundant empath by tuning into your own personal, unique energy and making it your superpower to create everything that you want in life and more. And more. Okay, so let's talk now about this idea of blocks. So once again, I created this group because I've been working with empaths, and so many empaths would come to me and they'd be like, I really want to pursue my purpose, or I want to focus more on my relationships or my health or whatever it is, but I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. There's not enough for me. I'm not clear on my own thoughts. I'm always thinking about other people and giving to other people and focused on what they think, right? So that's where I started to realize that this challenge of lack among empaths existed. And I'm going to give you today three specific blocks that we need to together in this group. And if you decide to take the next step, for those who are ready, I'm offering a free abundant empath activation call where we're going to get on a call together and we're actually going to map out for you a path to abundance. Okay? So if you are ready, if you are sitting there and you're like, I'm done pouring from an empty cup. I'm done feeling like a victim. I'm done feeling like I'm powerless when it comes to my finances. I'm done sitting here waiting for my soulmate to poof, show up on my doorstep. Like, I'm ready to become a manifester and a creator and go out there and take action and make it happen and turn my empath gifts into superpowers. If that's you, go to the link that's posted with this video and apply for an abundant empath activation call. Okay, so let's talk about these three blocks that I've seen in just about every empath I've worked with, including myself, that if you want more abundance in your life, we've got to break through now. And I'm going to be giving you awareness is the first step. Awareness is the first step to transitioning, to creating, to breaking through, to stepping into your abundant empath goddess amazing energy. Okay, so block number one is that every empath I've worked with, right? We focus on so many things, but we focus on ourselves last, right? We focus on what other people think, what other people need, what other people say, what other people might be thinking, what hypothetically could happen, right? But we don't, and that's a beautiful gift. Like I said, all of these blocks are actually gifts that are just misguided at this point. So the fact that you are programmed, as I like to say, as empaths, right? We're programmed to the outside. We're programmed to be focusing on other people, which what that does, it actually puts us on, if you think about this as a sports analogy, it puts us on defense because we're constantly reacting to other people. We're constantly protecting our energy. We're constantly fending off other people's expectations, ideas, beliefs, emotions, all those sorts of things. And what blocks us is that we need to flip that. We need to actually learn strategies and tools and new ways of being that flip our brains around so that we don't feel selfish or guilty for putting ourselves first, but we know that it's necessary in order to show up to have more, create more, be more, do more, give more in our lives. So the first block is that, I mean, you've got to, just to be honest, you've got to start putting yourself first. You've got to start like tuning into what's going on the inside. And this is what I spent so many years working on. So many years working on. It was like years and years and years and dollars and a journey around the world that I invested in learning how to tune in to my own inner voice, learning how to break through the mental chatter, and like learning how to like literally reprogram my brain. And that's what I work with clients on, and that's what I would work with you on, starting with that abundant and empath activation call. Link is in the text for this post, this video. Okay, so that's block number one. So just start to think about, for you, right? For you, where is my focus? And every time you start to focus on what's this person thinking? What is this person gonna do? What is this person's expectations? What is this person feeling? Put yourself back in the driver's seat. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first. It's going to feel a little bit, quote, selfish. You might even feel a little bit guilty, but I'm telling you, this is what you have to do in order to be an empowered, abundant empath. And it's not guilty. It's not worthy of guilt. It's not selfish, right? Because when you're centered within yourself, you are an amplifier of energy. And just through your presence, just through you being so centered in who you are, you uplift everyone else around you. Okay, number two, the number two block, if you are experiencing lack of abundance in any of the ways that I've been talking about, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Okay, there's a lack of action. There's a lack of action. Why have I noticed a lack of action among empaths? Let me know in the comments as you're watching this, right? Like if you've noticed yourself not really taking as much action as maybe you'd like to in your life, why is that? Here's why. Because we're worried about what other people are going to think, how they're going to react, how they're going to respond, what they're going to think of us. We have that imposter syndrome. We have that voice of the inner critic in our mind, which what is actually the voice of the inner critic? It's not even your own voice, right? Typically, it's those stored experiences, those stored things that we've heard, those stories that we've created that are negative. Because I'll tell you the truth, your true internal voice, the voice of your soul, is not a critic at all. It is a voice of love and encouragement and possibility. Okay, so that's another thing that we've got to learn and program yourself to tune into, is teach you how to get in touch with your own intuition instead of the voice of the critic, which is just the stories and the programs that we've absorbed as empaths throughout our lives, right? What we've got to learn to do is tap into that voice of intuition. And the action piece, the moment that you get out of your head, we're going to talk about that in a second, and start to take more action in your life. Get out of the over-analyzing, the overthinking, replaying all the scenarios. What's this person going to think, and this person, and if I post this on social media, what will these people think, right? Or if I do this, what if things go wrong? The minute we get out of all that and we start to take action and trust yourself and trust the universe, because here's the secret about manifesting that a lot of people don't talk about. We talk about manifesting, right? Abundance, attracting. I love all of that stuff. I'm a huge believer in the divine feminine, but it's about flow and energy, right? Energy is always flowing. Energy is not stagnant. It's not still, it's flowing, it's moving as the universe brings us signs, and the universe brings us messages, and our own intuition brings us messages to act upon. If we stifle that and we stop and we think it over and we think about and analyze every single thing and get into these perfectionistic behaviors, we stop the flow of energy, the flow of abundance, and our power to attract. So number two, biggest block to abundance is a lack of action. So start to take action. Today is a great day. I mentioned the astrology of today. Today is a great day to, as I like to say, meet the universe halfway. Meet the universe halfway. Meaning You take action towards something that you want. You take one small little action. Like for me, today I was like, you know what? Maybe starting a Facebook community is a small action, but it's aligned with the bigger purpose that I'm here to create. So think about what is one action that you can take today. Maybe it's booking that abundant empath activation call, right? That is one action that you can take to proclaim to the universe and to yourself and to your higher self and to align with your soul and be like, I'm here, I'm ready. Bring on the abundance, bring on the passion, bring on the purpose, bring on the fulfilling relationships, bring on the money, whatever it is that you want to attract. All right, number 3, empath block number 3 that I see most commonly in empaths is being in their head versus their heart. Now, why do we do this? And what do I mean by this, first of all? So I talked about the voice of the inner critic and the over analytical behavior. And so what happens with us as empaths is from the time we are young, we are incredibly in touch and in tune with our emotions. We're incredibly sensitive. Most of us are incredibly deep. I remember being a little girl and like journaling and just having thoughts and emotions and thinking about things. Like I was thinking about what am I here for and what is my purpose from the time I was very, very young. And it was like almost, I didn't know what to do with all of that. I didn't know what to do with all these emotions I was feeling as a little girl, right? And so it was like, that wasn't normal. Like when I looked around at the other kids my age, they weren't thinking about the things I was thinking about. They didn't process the world the way that I do. If you've ever felt that or experienced that as an empath, drop something in the comments, drop a heart, right? Because I think many of us have felt that way. And this part of this community is to like bring support to one another so that we know that we are not alone. And so anyway, so then I go to school, right? And I'm like this super creative, intuitive, like empath I grew up on a farm, so it was a lot of like flowing with the day and with nature and like really sort of like in tune with that. And then I go to school and it's all like learning to program things, like doing things the right way, doing things this perfect way, and like stripping out the emotion, the creativity, the intuition that was so innate in me. And I remember one specific story. So this was when I first started preschool. And like, if you're an empath, you're probably super creative and maybe you haven't tapped into that. So like creativity for me doesn't look like painting or drawing, like that beautiful painting back there. Like I didn't paint that. Like that's not my forte. I love doing graphic design. I love writing. I love creating videos and programs and things and coaching and things like that. But anyway, I was creative when I was young. I've always have been, even though that shows up differently for all of us. That's my point with that. But anyway, so I go to preschool and it was my first day of preschool. And the teacher's like, okay, we're going to do a project and everyone's going to do the same thing. We're going to make these like color crayon things, where you do the color crayons, you do like the shavings and then you melt the crayons and you put them into a mold and into a shape. And I was like, well, that sounds cool, but I want to just draw. Like, I have this really great idea for this pretty picture that I want to draw. So can I just take the crayons and draw a picture? And she's like, no, you can't do that. Like, we all do the same thing here. Everybody's got to do the same thing. And it was like, broke my little creative empath Aquarian soul heart. And no knock to her, right? And I'm pretty sure I threw a temper tantrum because I was a sensitive little empath and I was like, but I want to be creative and flow and I don't want to be the same as everybody else. Well, my point is, and this is no knock to her, no knock to anyone else who might be a teacher and you've got to corral in your students. But for me, like that's an example of the way we are programmed as empaths to like turn off our empath intuition, creativity, all those gifts that we have. And we are programmed to just sort of like be in the lane, follow, be like this, be analytical, even more masculine, right? And so this is what happens is we start to rely on our brain and our head versus being in our heart because it feels safe, because it feels more accepted, because that's what we've been programmed to do. And so the third biggest block to your empath is that's cutting off. That is cutting off your flow as a creator. That is cutting off your empath gifts. Your superpower, your power center, And there's many of them. We would talk about the chakras if you decide to, kind of book that call and join me for some more work. We talk about the chakras, but these are energy centers. And a big one, the biggest one for empaths is your heart. Your heart is your power center. Your heart is your superpower. Did you know that the heart actually sends more signals to the brain than vice versa? We're told to believe the brain's running the show, but when we're tuned in, turned on, like in touch with our heart, it's actually our heart. That's where our power lies. That's where the connection with our soul. That's where the connection to the real you. That's where the truth lies. So when we get into the head and we're over analyzing, we're thinking about what other people and their judgments and our own self-judgment, our own inner critic, we are cut off. And so we've got to learn ways to reconnect with that heart and retune into our own intuition and learn to trust yourself again. And by yourself, I mean your heart and your soul and the real, beautiful empath goddess you. You, as an empath, are born to be a creator, not an absorber of energy. You are born to be an attractor, not a sponge. You're here because you have a huge purpose. And it's not sitting in a desk doing a job that you don't like. It's not being stuck in relationships that are sucking the life out of you, right? It's not any of those things. It's not questioning yourself because maybe you feel like you don't fit in because you're different, right? You are meant to be a creator. You are meant to be a manifester. You are meant to be abundant. And so this community is about helping you step into that and so much more. So once again, I would love to meet with those of you who are ready, who watch this, who it resonated with, and you can book an abundant empath activation call. I am so excited to work with you, to guide you, to help you discover what's possible for you, to give you clarity, to fire you up, to light that heart on fire and help you awaken that goddess that lives in you. So thank you so very much for being here. I see Jessica's here. Hello. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Say a huge thank you to yourself. I know you took time out to watch this video if you're here right now, and I would love to meet with you as part of one of those Empowered Empath activation calls. I will see you again. I'm going to be doing at least one, probably two of these videos per week, plus sharing lots more in this group as well. And definitely feel free. This is a community. So feel free to post, to share, to ask questions, to seek support from one another. And lots more to come. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful Jupiter-Neptune transit. I did post something the other day in terms of the themes and kind of what this is all about. So definitely check that out as well. Sending you so much love. The light in me honors the light in you. I will see you again very, very soon.